This is a video coming out from Muridke where the locals' admission on camera has been caught, and they're talking about how they knew about the attack beforehand. They knew about the training camps. They knew about the fact that students were sent on leave, and they knew about the fact that there are, elements, mujahids. They call them, of course, jihadis, as we know them, and have been spreading terror here in India. And this is about the Markaz Taiba camp that we're talking about. Rishabh's with us. Rishabh, a very interesting conversation there of a Muridke local who's talking about how trainings happen over there. There was security there. They knew in advance that this could be a location that could be potentially targeted. Very big revelation coming in. So even the people around this terror camp knew that this was very much on the radar because of the kind of violent activities that people who went there were trained for, the terrorists who went there were trained for. Rishabh.
Well, definitely, since Pahalgam had happened, people knew that India would respond. And India, as it has been the case, be it in 2016 or 2019, Madhav, that India would only respond by hitting at terror angles. And that is something that is a given fact. India will not attack the civilians. And the moment people around this Markaz realize that this is one of those potential terror hideout or terror center that could be attack given. Remember this Muridke Markaz that we are talking about, Ajmal Kasab, the terrorist who executed 26/11, David Headley, the one who planned and plotted 26/11, were once part of this Markaz. They were trained at this Markaz. So this was the stature of this Markaz. We are also told that this was one of the potential target back in 2019 as well.
And of course, the headquarters of the LET completely reduced to rubble. And that's exactly what has happened over there. Interesting to look at, of course, the commentary coming in there from locals. Rishabh, thanks so much for bringing us that exclusive story as well. Let me go right back to Nitin Gokhale. Just look at the kind of situation, Nitin Gokhale. Even the locals there knew what kind of activities were going on. They say that this is a place that for the last 7-8 days, there was heavy security there. They knew this was a potential target. Everyone knows exactly what's going on in Pakistan. Only Pakistan tries very hard to make this a state secret.
Well, that is what, because there is hardly any difference between the Pakistani army and the jihadi complex or the terrorist groups that operate there on their soil, because they are funded, supported, sponsored and sheltered by the Pakistani army. Most of the jihadis are former Pakistani soldiers, either from the infantry or from the special services group. So there's no secret. And I think this video very clearly shows what the Pakistanis think of these terrorist camps and headquarters. And hats off to the common sense of a common Pakistani who knew that this is one of the targets, because India will this time target it, is what he judged, and judged rightly, because these are well-known locations, and yet Pakistan Army and Pakistan government keeps denying that they have sheltered or they are supporting the Pakistani jihadi complex. I think that's the reality.
All right. Nitin Gokhale, thank you so much for joining us here on the broadcast. Let's quickly introduce our other panelists also with us. We have Air Marshal V.K. Bhatia joining us. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni is also with us. Lieutenant General Kulkarni, what's more, one of the other comments that's made in this video is that even the students over there, the Madrasa, was sent on leave. What more evidence do we want of what exactly was going on at the Markaz Taiba?
No doubt, Madhav. They know everything. There's nothing that they don't know. They are operating this end, they're operating that end, they're going from one end to the other end. All of it. That is why the OGW network over here, the complete contact, you heard that boy saying, well, we are all trained over here, we all know everything was going on. So it's a nexus between the state, the jihadi organizations, the madrasas there, and all of this. Because obviously, like what Nitin brought out, they are funded, they're logistically supported, they are trained, they are firing ranges over there, they are full-fledged special service group people over there, training them, ex-servicemen over there. So it's a huge network. That's why the world over, they say that Pakistan uses terrorism as an instrument of state policy. Nowhere in the world do you find an army as a nation. It's only Pakistan. Otherwise, most nations have an army. Here, the army has a nation to itself. A business of the army, of the Fauji Foundation, which has over $30 billion income per year. a country which spends only $10 billion on its armed forces, about 5.5 lakhs, they make about $30 billion from their own citizens. That's the kind of thing. And now you find the jihadi chief of the army staff, what else is he doing? He's doing nothing but wanting to grab power. And that power he's so crazy about. And unfortunately, I keep telling, you have Ziaul Haq from Jalandhar, you have this man, present jihadi chief from Jalandhar, and you have Musharraf from Chandni Chowk. So you find all these people who are Muhajirs, who've gone there, want to be seen as more holier than cow, and wanting to do all these kind of things. Each one of them having his own ways. Ziaul Haq saying we'll bleed India with 1,000 cuts. You have another man coming up, Musharraf thereafter, who says, well, ye to hamare hero the. Imagine, and here's another man wanting to divide and bring in a communal divide and tensions between India and Pakistan on the basis of religion.
Absolutely.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Let me bring in Air Marshal Bhatia on this as well. Air Marshal Bhatia, you know, locals knew that there were terrorist training camps going on over there. They knew about the attack beforehand. And, you know, everyone knew about these kind of activities. And, you know, what more proof do we want? Even yesterday, we've seen pictures of how the funerals of these jihadi terrorists are actually being attended by the army personnel over there. They've even, you know, put the flag of Pakistan over some of those coffins. Those links are very clear. And as the things, you know, appear to be rolling out and coming out of Pakistan, those links are only becoming more and more evident by the day.
Well, you know, I'm surprised that we are still debating on this issue. I think it should be more than clear that they are totally together in this. As a matter of fact, all these jihadis or terrorists are in the pay of the Pakistani establishment, that is Pak Army. And I mean, I don't know why we are not convinced ourselves as yet. The whole world should be convinced, and no, there is no doubt left now in our minds that that is so. And what they say, Pakistan, since its inception, has not done too well, but now it has reached a stage where in Hindi what we call Vinash Kale Viprit Buddhi, and they are just bent upon self-destruction. As far as India is concerned, we should be absolutely clear in our mind that we will always give them calibrated response. And if they want, we can help them achieve their self-destruction aim.
Absolutely. In fact, let's quickly play out that clip once again. The clip where the Muridke local talks about the fact that there are training camps there, the fact that they knew about it earlier, the fact that for the past 7 to 8 days there was more security and heightened security at that location, and also, of course, about the fact that Madrasa students were sent on leave. Listen in once again to a local there in Muridke talking about the Markaz Taiba, the Lashkar-e-Taiba headquarters that was destroyed in India's strikes on them. All right, but Lieutenant Kulkarni, while Air Marshal Bhatia says, why are we even debating it? The point is, we have to debate it. The world has to know. And it's also very rare to find, you know, such a candid confession on camera coming out of Pakistan.
Mother, never happened. Even United States would always be saying very clearly and no uncertain terms that, well, we would be telling the entire world that we are victims of terrorism, we are victims of terrorism, Pakistan is a hub of terrorism, but nobody believed it till United States suffered 9/11. And the man who did it was being in a hideout, not a kilometer away from the Pak military command. That a country which is supporting yet another country, United States, is giving arms, weapons, equipment, loans, aids, what have you, to Pakistan. And Pakistan is doing exactly, probably either Kayani knew it, I don't know whether he knew it or not, but the fact that the Americans could kill Osama bin Laden in Pakistan, that's where the world knew that yes, the hub
and not just in Pakistan or anywhere in Pakistan, but in Abbottabad, as we all know, which is a garrison town. How would the military not have known about that? Very, very important questions that have emerged historically from Pakistan and in the current context also, talking about the clear links between these terror groups and the Pakistan army. Lieutenant General Kulkarni, Air Marshal Bhatia, I'd like to thank both of you for joining us this evening on the show.